This is Justin Scoop on Friday, December 12th, 2025. And we got the candle today that probably stumped out some bulls, and I was one of them. Uh, so initially, it looked like we were just pulling back, normal inside gap, and we should just rally. Well, we didn't. We are so close to all time high. That's what I was saying yesterday. And I said it over here, and I said it, it's like we're so close, but this definitely does not look as strong as it did yesterday. And the fact that it came down here, interacted with this purple line now, surprisingly, or something, I don't know, it actually closed above. So, like, but this is a warning shot. We could definitely pull back some more. When it was way down here, it's like, oh, there's no way it's going to get back above. It's down. It's not going to, yeah. But here we are. So we definitely took out all these lows. So going back to the fourth, actually, we are pretty much at the low of the month, or we put in the low, contending with the low of the month. I guess December 2nd, we took out that low, but we didn't take out the low on December 1st. So basically, we wiped out any gains the entire month, which, we're still early, but well, we're middle of the month. This does not look strong. The bulls just were not here. Here's the 3 minute. Looked like, yeah, the bulls are going to rally. It's going to go. It's bouncing a little bit off the 100. Starts to break down. Okay, rally. Let's go. Nope. Holds the 100 and just sinks. Retests. Not even touching the 21. Crushes down some more. And this was the low of the day. Like, this looks awful. And then we started to kind of do a inverted head and shoulders sort of shape, recover, back down. I love this retest of the purple line, like a neckline of the inverted head and shoulders, bounce there, ran all the way up to the 100, put in some interesting small candles. A lot of times we're putting these little small candles, and then a lot of them it reversed. Um, this one it can was starting to roll over, starting to rest. But it reversed. It went down. These three over here, this was right before this last gasp of bears pushing this lower here before it just closed sideways from that point, only from that point, not all day, obviously. But anytime we had a lot of wicks, especially if they were kind of flip-flopping wicks, like both on the bullish and bearish side, something indecisive is going on. A lot of the times it just reversed there. So got a squeeze going late in the day. Got this squeeze coming up here where we were losing the bear momentum and the histogram shifting bullish, and would have been well on your way bullish if you'd been in over here. Um, I thought we'd actually get another little rollover into the close, maybe even close of the low day, 1600, something like that. So yeah, just a rough day for the bulls. You can see on the 6850 call, there was some strength here. You had some buying here. This may not have been the option you were in. Um, Here's the strike at the 6850 price. So we did actually get back into that price. But you can see just by the shape of, let me get the current tool. So basically from here, we were running up. Looks pretty smooth, some chops in here like that big one, but like when this came in here, that corresponded to that. And so this option went basically like that to that high, but it pretty much came back down, took out the low, and then went up. And so this is the great thing about options. Um, yeah, you missed this. It's okay because you actually got a better price if you bought here off the purple line. You could have been buying on this candle, which was lower than the base over here, or lower than the inverted head and shoulder, looking at the retest of the neckline here, right? Isn't that crazy? How the bull or the how the calls work. Same for the puts. It's just how the options move. Usually you can get a better entry, especially if we have kind of this sort of a candle giving up a lot of premium. Um, but one of the best things you can do is be looking to enter on the opposing candle. So if you're looking bullish, get in on a bear candle. And at one point that was a bear candle. If you're looking to go bearish, get in a bull candle, buy in that candle and let it roll over. So anyway, that's just one of the things you can look for to when to get in, when to time up options. Um, One thing I did want to talk about is these three candles here. I was watching this and I was trying to check some charts, get a trade set up on my phone, and I had a signal going on right through here or right around this area. I don't remember exactly what it was. This would have been the best place to buy because could have gotten that lower wick there. Same, basically the same level, around two that you could have bought all through here. It came all the way back down to that. So same thing, like that was all of this, the high here turned into buy, set up around two and a stop down at one would have been a great trade. You could have done that again here, and that would have just flushed, which meant a move from two straight up to 12 really easily, taking out that high. Not quite getting into this one, but a really nice, you could have done a 10x, spent, you're risking 100, you're spending 200, stop at 100 and let it run up to 12. And I was working on getting something set up like this. I don't remember if it was this exact option, but this is a great, nice round number. I like the 0, 0, 25, 50, 75. And, that's the main ones I was looking at here today. It's just the 68.50 and the 68.25, the call and the put. You just kind of see how they moved. So, but yeah, this was kind of the last gasp, but I love these late in the day like this because they can have explosive moves. But I missed that one. And then obviously there were a number of opportunities to be in something like this from the get-go of the day. Like we put in a low around two here, but we were lower than that here. And had you known it was going to have that kind of a run, just be in it, right? Like where do you get in? Okay, you can get in on that kind of a retest. That would have been buying up here around three. I think you could have been filled at three, which had a huge move up, back down. Really nice place to get in where there's some consolidation here. So this consolidation retesting somewhat to this level, right at the apex, really on that consolidation there, right on this option, and just let it run. Let it just do its thing and continue to collapse. And once it starts slowing down, where it's making slightly higher highs and kind of basing here, it's like, okay, how tight do you want your stop right here at like 15? So you're in at three, your stop's at 15 because you just let it run, or do you just get out on a strength? It's hard to, hold on to those where you just want to lock in the wins. So anyway, that's what I'm seeing today with how things are moving. It would be great back on here in the daily. This candle and where it is kind of, so these two candles kind of are looking like those two candles to me. We're above a previous wick. We're not back up at all-time high. And then if you kind of ignore that candle, but look at this candle, or draw that, look at that candle like it's this candle, maybe. If we have a massive gap down like this did for the open the next day, if we do something like that over the weekend, who knows what's going to happen over the weekend, right? If we do a massive gap down, that will make this an island reversal. We had that conversation way back when with this talk here. We're in the same area, not the exact same numbers, but we're in the similar area as we were. What if we do another possible island? That could be part of the conversation. Can we do a massive rally like that candle had? Can we gap down massively and come down here to 67.50 and then just get bought up all day? Entirely possible. What if we close pretty flat, like these 2 days close really flat? Entirely possible. One thing I haven't looked at. So that's kind of what I'm I'm just watching for. So even though it may be super bearish if we gap down like that, we could have some strengthening on them. And actually, before I switch off, if we do gap way down like that, if we do that over here, the one thing I will watch out for is if I'm just kind of drawing that range or that sort of a gap size. Similarly, if we open somewhere around this price, around 67.50, that's about the same price that we opened up on these big candles. We could do it again. we which is crazy to think about, but what if we do a big candle down Monday like that and tag with a little bit of a lower wick, which we got a tiny one here, but what if we do something like that Monday? I know it's crazy to think about, right? But like, I don't know if we were to do something, if we have a level, if we open at a level similar to these two previous candles, I'm going to be probably loading up on some puts, maybe not loading up, but and make sure you do what you want to do with you're the one responsible for your own trades, but I want to be ready for that sort of trade from the get-go. So if we are somewhere in that range, I still have to set up alerts, price alerts for that. And I don't even know that we're going to gap down like that Monday, but I'm just saying, like I'm just seeing some similarities to what we've done. Uh, when we kind of sold off sharply from this similar area. So just stuff to watch out for. All right. Okay. One more thing. Going back into the 3 minute. Usually on some of these days we've got something that lines up. So let me see if anything lined up with this. I'm going to duplicate that so I can drag it over here. Just want to see if something was sharp like this because I wasn't really looking for it and it's kind of come off the chart a little bit. Is there anything? Oh, wait, what was that? Let me look at this. Was this down? No, no, not quite on that one. Is anything lining up with some bearishness? A little bit of that. No, it's not quite good enough. Is this? Okay. That's pretty close. Yeah, I'm good with that. Okay. So that's one level. Where's that steeper one? I don't know why I have that one there. Kind of a breakout. Duplicate that, move that over. I haven't looked at this before. Hop on to do this now. So, okay, move that over. Didn't like that I moved it off the screen. All I'm doing is just looking for some levels to see if anything is holding or matching or whatever. So is any of this, those two, pretty close. This and this low, a little bit close. Oh, that actually matches the high right here from here to here. That's kind of cool. Um, that's showing up as some resistance here. Nice break through the with a wick and then right back into it. Um, Interesting. Just trying to see if anything kind of really lines up strong. I kind of like this one. If I put on the first upper wick here, yeah, it's not as solid if I put it right on that wick. I do like this, but this one's not a resistance one, is it? Isn't it a support? The green one is the resistance one. Where did we first have it? No, we did have that as resistance. Okay, that counts. And then the green one was a shallower resistance. So I don't want that one. I want a shorter one that I can play around with. Duplicate that. Move that over here. If you're not watching more, no problem. If you're still watching this, thanks. It means a lot that people will keep watching me rambling on and talking through some stuff. Okay. I'm trying to just see. So kind of the high. How tight is that? No, that's still a bit off. Not crazy about that one. Just looking for resistance that lined up nicely. That doesn't really line up anywhere today. No, not seeing the green one line up with anything. Oops, just zoom out. Nope, I'm not seeing the green one line up at all on any of this. Maybe some of this in here. No, like going just that far in. But there's a little bit of that. Quick. Nope, that's still not as clean. This one's pretty good. Yeah, you can line those up. Starts to push through, break out. Okay, what was that? That was 2 days ago. And then we get back below it and get back above. So that was all before the FOMC announcement. So it's interesting to see it played out like that, especially with the retest. Is there anything else? Nothing is really okay. These two here and here. I don't know. There's a lot of chop in between. So I'm going to take that off. Anyway, just trying to see if there's some levels. I know this looks weird if I go back to the daily and then it's like, oh, look, there's all these different colored lines in here. So I got to clean this up at some point, but it's just, I like seeing when these levels come back in and then if they're happening a lot, like they were over here, set up some trade-off and give some confidence that, hey, that's the right level that it's holding. This one I think is really interesting with how this was moving before the FOMC announcement. Because it kind of, I mean, this to me sets it up that we're going to have some breakout, um, trapping people bearish. Um, we had some resistance, broke through, retested, didn't get any sort of lower wicking and selling. It was strength and then wicked back in above all of this, and just ran. So that's what I was looking for today. We pretty much got the opposite. It just collapsed. So, all right, this is long enough. I've been rambling on about some of these levels, but I know what I'm looking for, and we will see how this plays out next week. Hope this helps. This is Justin. Thanks.